Hello and welcome guys, it's Leon Street here from businessownerelevation.com, ready to bring to you some more awesome marketing material. It's Whiteboard Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, it's 2 o'clock and I'm on time. We're ready to go. Now, today's training in particular is all about leads, and I'm going to read the title off to you so we can get straight into the training. And it is discover where you can find more coaching client leads and why your tactics have let you down. Yeah. So no matter where your business is as a coach, whether you're at 5 figures, 6 figures, or even in 7 figures, you hit a ceiling at some point or another. And that ceiling is generally because you've explored as much as possible of what is out there for you, or actually you haven't. So it's going to be one or the other, and you're looking for new ways, new inspiration, and something that's going to generate results. Not fluff, not hype, not go create a blog, do some SEO, or do some Facebook ads and blah 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 blah, and before you know it, you're going to be snowed under with leads. No, we're going to focus on the reality of actually generating leads for you. And as I've put on here, why your tactics have let you down up until now. Now, if you are a coach and you're doing kind of mid 6 figures, 7 figures, and things are going swimmingly, amazing. This is going to act as a refresher for you so that you stay focused and headed to wherever that next goal is. Now, if you're not at that level and you're below that level and you want to move your business to the next level, so whether it is hitting 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, $250,000, 300,000, wherever it is for you, that's what this training is all about. Now, I've already started off in 2 key areas that I want to focus on. Now, if you have got any questions, you're welcome to comment underneath this video, and I do welcome your comments. And the other thing is, if you believe that the message I'm about to share with you today is going to be something that somebody needs to hear, I'd also appreciate it if you could share this video. Give me a thumbs up, but I like hearts the best, so give me a love heart as well, guys. But anyway, if you do have any comments, I've got Adam also helping me behind the camera, who's going to help me out. I just want to shout out everybody on Facebook. We've got people on Instagram. Hey, how you doing? And we're also recording for our exclusive clients as well. We just create tons of training for coaches, for marketing, for sales, and just business in general. But anyway, so have we got any comments first of all, Adam? I just want to check, making sure.
On Instagram,
yeah.
Someone who says they're listening to your webinar whilst taking a day off.
Wow. So who's that person?
Gift Wrapping Academy.
Ah, Gift Wrapping Academy. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if that is the same person who I know from Facebook. It probably is. But anyway, if you've got any questions as we're going through this, as I mentioned, just drop me some questions. I'm actually looking forward to your questions or comments, guys. And remember, if you watch this live, put hashtag live. If you're watching this on replay, put hashtag replay, and I will come back to any comments that you have. Let's get into it, guys. So the first thing is, now, if you're a coach, you've really got to look at who is your customer base. Now, are you targeting B2B types of clients, or are you targeting B2C? And the reason why I want to start there is really just so we get into understanding who is the target audience, because there's some differences in the way that you're going to go after your clients. Now, this is a really important step. I was having a discussion yesterday actually with a life coach from New York actually, and we were talking about her business and what she does and her beliefs about how much she can charge in the marketplace. And interestingly enough, she's a multi-million-dollar person. She's built up her previous business. She was a lawyer. So she's very successful. She still practices a bit of law, but she's moved into coaching because what she realizes that law was cool, but actually what she's passionate and really loves doing is helping people in a way that you can as a coach to help them move to the next level. So we were speaking and she was telling me she currently charges $150 an hour, which is nowhere near what she earns as a lawyer. But obviously she's doing pretty well because she's built up a career over 30 years or whatnot. But now she wants to get to a point where she can step into a place of charging $500 an hour, putting people onto a program where they're paying anything from $2,000 to $10,000 per month for her services. Now, the importance of this is, as we were speaking, I was speaking to her and she was telling me about the types of clients who she's coached for the past 2 years who've come to her as she's transitioned from being a lawyer into a life coach. And I said, tell me about the audience. And as we dug into the types of people that she helped, what I realized is actually, and I'm going to get the red pen for this so we can highlight it, is the majority of her client base were B2B. So they were business owners. And so what she was helping them with is to understand how they could either raise money, how they could grow their business, get beyond the blocks that they're currently facing, the types of strategies that they could put in place for growth. Now, the real cool thing about this is what I then really started to make her aware of is this, and this is an important step for you if you're watching right now. And I just want to highlight this. When it comes to B2B and when it comes to B2C, generally, and I'm going to use a generalization here, when it comes to business, people will they'll pay pretty much anything because it's business related, and generally it's going to help them just to go, you know, to whatever level. So you can add as many zeros and whatever else you want to add to it. B2B is almost limitless in terms of what people will invest. When they believe that you are the go-to authority or expert, there's no real cap, yeah, because the business will invest, and there's businesses obviously at different levels. Now, when it comes to B2C, i.e. you sell a product to like a general consumer, so whether it's coaching and you coach, you know, just the general public, people who are finding challenges in life, they're not really business owners or anything like that, you just target anybody, yeah? But anybody who fits into your particular niche, but in the consumer market. Now the thing with the consumer market, there's a cap. There is a limit that the market will bear, there's a limit that the market will allow, and because of this cap, you really need to be clear on what are the limits to that market, yeah? And I'm going to put a question mark here because, and I'll give you an example as well, guys. The limits aren't kind of just printed and you can go and download them and know how much you can charge in the B2B or the B2C market. As remember, the B2B, you can pretty much go to whatever level that your market will accept and probably then some in the B2B. But with the B2C, there's definitely a limit out there. So for instance, if you wanted to charge just, you know, general consumer and you were offering life coaching, let's say you charge £10,000 a month, there's not really many people who are going to be able to afford £10,000 a month unless you've hit a real celebrity niche or a niche where they have a lot of money. Does that make sense? So for most of you coaches out there, you've really got to understand, first of all, do you serve B2B or do you serve B2C? Because that's the first step to really know, is your pricing in the right place? Because what can happen as well, you might also be fishing in the wrong pond if you are going B2B and B2C. So let me explain. Now, we've just explored obviously any potential limits that you may have, and I'm going to go in specific to B2C. But then the other thing is why I also put in terms of generating more leads is that your tactics, where you're actually searching for your leads, you know, might be the different channels and so on. You've got to be clear, is that the best channel to attract the type of client that you want to attract in, the client that belongs to your niche? Because the reality is that, for instance, if you're a life coach, you might not be able to charge £10,000 a month for your services. You might not be able to charge £5,000. You might not be able to charge £1,000 a month. You might actually be down pretty low because that's what the market accepts, or that's what the market is used to, or even the people you've researched as competitors, that's where their pricing is. And you've not really got any point of differentiation. You might have a unique selling proposition, but the market still won't accept the pricing because it's just kind of too much. It's almost like saying you release the new iPhone, but you're selling it for £10,000, whereas actually most people can go and buy it for £1,000. It's just something that people won't accept. And it's the same when you're providing coaching services in the B2C market. What I would say is that based on some research that I've done, I'm aware of, for instance, like the top life coach in the UK, and he charges, as far as I last checked about a month ago, between 3 to 30,000 a month for his services. Yeah, and he's known as the UK's #1 life coach. If you search him on Google, you'll find his name. His name is Michael Serwer. He goes out to B2C, yeah, so he will coach pretty much anybody, not specifically B2B business owners. So The key thing with him though, he attracts in celebrities, he attracts in people with a lot more or a lot greater net worth, personal worth, so they can actually invest in that program. But for most of you coaches out there, because you're not targeting celebrities or people of higher net worth and so on, it's pretty difficult, and that may become a challenge. So then my next step is, well, if you understand what the limits are, and generally with B2C, if you're a life coach, you can probably, get away with 1, 2, maybe 3 grand a month, depending on the type of person you're targeting, and people will pay that. So don't fret, don't believe that for any moment you have to be £100 or $100 an hour coach, because nobody says that you should start down there. And even if you think actually, well, that's what people are paying and that's what people are happy to pay, and even some people are qualming that price, it's probably just because you haven't positioned yourself in the right way. But anyway, let's move on to tactics. So first I wanted to just cover who's the niche, who's the target audience, because that's important. So let's say that you understand whether you're doing B2B, B2C. You've then got to understand what's the media, what are the channels, and generally the channels are going to be places like all of the, the obvious places like Facebook. You're going to have LinkedIn, you'll have Instagram, you'll have Twitter, you'll have Google, you'll have email if you've got an email list, you'll have direct mail. I'm going to put another one here. There'll be telemarketing. So we get that on, and I'll add another one up here. We'll do JVs. So we'll have joint venture partners. So that'll do for now. So the media, the different channels that you can market your business on. Now, most people will obviously go for the obvious one. And for instance, Facebook, you're going to be okay with Facebook if you're targeting B2C. There's 2.1 billion people on there. So you've got nearly a third of the world's population. So you're going to be good. You'll find lots of consumers there. LinkedIn is perfect when you're going, and what I'll do, I'll just write next to it so we've got it clearly on there. So if you're going B2C, LinkedIn is great. If you're going B2B, Instagram, you're going to find a mix here, and you'll also find a mix also on Facebook as well. So let me just add that in. So B2B, so we got that. Instagram, you're going to find a mix, but then you also need to look at what is the age demographic of some of these media channels. Then you're going to have Twitter. Again, this is going to be a mix. Google, you'll definitely be able to market yourself from a B2B position. And so again, you'll also get B2C. So this is the mix as well. Email is going to depend on the list that you have. Direct mail is going to depend on the list and who you're targeting. Telemarketing generally will depend on the list and the data that you have. And then JVs again is going to depend on their list and the type of people that they've got on their database. So now that we understand, we've got some core channels over here. So we've got Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm using these because these are the obvious ones that most people understand online. So let me just grab these. I'm going to join them into a nice arrow so we can just pull all of these in. So we got one Facebook, right? Two. Give you a nice arrow. We got any questions, Adam?
I don't have any questions. I had a comment from Neelam.
Yeah, Neelam, sorry. Yeah. So I was meant to say your name a bit earlier, Neelam. What's the comment?
She says that these strategies can be applied to a range of service industries. Once you establish a niche and leadership in an industry, businesses can pay more than what you charge.
Yeah.
It's all about your niche, experts, and the clientele you decide to
Good. Perfect. And again, this comes back to knowing who you're targeting. So whether it is B2B, B2C, and then once you've established your authority in the marketplace. But anyway, so I'm just pulling out Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram for the moment. These other methods we can look into another time. We just won't have the time to go through everything that I want to do. But anyway, the reasons why generally your tactics have let you down is because I'm just gonna say the first part is a lot of you are wasting your time on social media. Yeah. Now, granted, you may be learning like today, which is fine, but I just want to put this out there. Are there times when you're actually just scrolling through the timeline and just checking on things, and maybe it's time when you should be working, maybe it's time when you should be doing something more productive? That happens, yeah? Let's just face it. It happens to me. I'm not going to say I'm exclusive and it never happens. It happens to me. But that's most of the time why your tactics have let you down, because you're on social media. You fooled yourself to say I'm on social media to grow my business, but actually you're just wasting time. Then you reflect back on your day and you think, wow, like haven't really generated any leads or sales, but I was on Facebook all day. I was on Instagram like for an hour scrolling, or I was on, LinkedIn connecting with 1 million people. Yeah. But the reality is that you've just scrolled, you haven't really done anything productive. Now, what I want to say is that now that you know potentially where you can go fishing for leads, what you've got to do is put a plan in place to actually generate the leads. Because here's the other thing, you get a lot of people who focus on, let's create content, let me create a blog, let me create a podcast, let me create some videos, let me create a brand new website, let me create a logo, let me create a new email. Yeah. They create. But this is the big thing that I say nobody, it's a very sweeping statement, but I'll just put it out there, that many people are not doing. They create this stuff, they spend lots of time creating this stuff, perfecting their logo, but what are they not doing, guys? Can you answer the magic question? $1 million question. What are they not doing? They're not marketing the actual things that they create. Yeah, marketing. So I'm just going to put it out there. So marketing, and I'll make sure I've got it, your assets. Yeah. So marketing your assets, because everything you create, whether it's a podcast, a blog, videos, webinar, it could be anything, a guide, ebook, whatever. You've actually got to market your assets. You've got to do the marketing of those assets. And the reason why most tactics fail is because number one, you haven't identified who you're targeting in the right place, B2B, B2C, then your niche, really understanding the market, understanding your pricing. Can I generate leads based on the type of client that I want to attract in? But then the second step is, have you marketed your assets on these channels? Because a lot of people are putting noise out there. So let me explain what's noise. So you may be putting out a quote. Let's say you put out a quote, one of these live quotes, motivational quotes, whatever. Great. I put them out there. I share them sometimes. But think of this. This becomes your main strategy. You put the quote out there, you get lots of likes, you get lots of shares, you get comments. What's the one thing that you're not getting? Yeah, because I guarantee you'll get engagement. But what you've also got to be able to do is turn that engagement into leads, and people aren't spending the time, coaches out there aren't spending the time to actually turn engagement into leads. So what you've got to do is focus on what is the message that you've got to put out into the marketplace in order to attract them into what you have as, value. So you're not directly putting a message out there just to say, hey, I help you because I'm a coach and I do either business coaching, life coaching, executive transformation, property coaching, whatever type of coaching you do, you've got to put value out into the marketplace. So let me go back to my red pen here. So it's all about putting your message into the marketplace. Oops, spell that right. So message into the market, that's the key. And you're putting the message out to promote these assets here. And that's what a lot of people aren't doing. They're putting great stuff out there. They're putting posts out there. What do you guys think of this? I love this one as well. And this is okay if you're doing research, but I really love this one. And I am being sarcastic here, guys. Below this post, can you list the 3 words that best describe what you think of me, or what comes to mind when you think of me? Yeah, I see that all the time, and that's like, wow. Like, is that the level of, marketing or engagement that you need? Now, there is a caveat, as I said, if you are genuinely doing research because you want to see what the market, i.e. your friends on Facebook, think of you, that's cool. Or if you want to get, some feedback on what people think of your business, that's cool. But I see it from people who I know really aren't researching. Yeah, they're just trying to figure out what people think of them. because their ego needs a bit of stroking. You've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it many times. Then there's other people who put just drivel out there, yeah? But the reality is you've got to put a message out to the market that provides value, because value is what people are looking for, because people are currently experiencing a pain. Yeah, they're experiencing a challenge in their life or in their business that you can solve as a coach, and being able to help somebody from pain to pleasure to the point where they're getting the result and moving their life forward in the way that they hope to is the greatest gift that you can give to a prospect who is yet to be your client. It's actually your gift of giving value because of the knowledge you have and what you can share with your audience. And remember, knowing what your prices are as well and what the market will accept and whatever you've built up as authority in order to command those prices. And for me, this is the reason why people's tactics are letting them down. They're putting the wrong message out into the marketplace. They're spending time on creating marketing assets, but they're not marketing those assets. They're not putting eyeballs on those assets. They're not sending people to their ebook download, to their webinar download. They're not putting videos out there that provide value with a call to action to say, hey, if you would like help in this particular area, why not follow the link below this video, or why not message me, why not comment below, and then follow up the engagement and interaction. So now I want to move on to one more step in this sequence. Now, if you are targeting B2B or B2C and what you find is that your clients aren't online, they're not on Facebook, LinkedIn, then explore other channels, guys. And I'll give you one example, one story, so you know how you can look at this differently. So I was speaking to a guy from Israel in the past week. Yeah, so this is my personal story. This guy has access to 65,000 coaches, yeah? So 65,000 coaches. I target coaches. That's who I serve. I help coaches, so business coaches, life coaches, all types of coaches, to generate leads consistently. So I'm speaking to this guy, and this came from LinkedIn. So this is where the conversation started. But then the conversation moved from LinkedIn to a phone call. And then what we realized is that we have an opportunity to do a joint venture. Yeah. The joint venture will allow me to put my message out to his list in front of 65,000 coaches. So we've just started that journey, that relationship. And so what I'm getting across to you guys is that don't just think it's just all about putting a message out there. You've got to follow up. You've got to speak to people. Remember, you're serving people, so therefore you've got to speak to people. It's not about creating a barrier of online. It's about making connections, guys, and following up on those connections. I've got one more story. So recently this week, one of our clients actually, she was doing some work, and she reached out to me and said, Leon, I really want to get some Facebook ads going. I really believe Facebook ads are going to open up the doors for me, that, you know, they're going to just send loads of clients to me. And I said, look, I said, based on where you're at, Facebook is not the option right now, because we stumbled across a channel where she can generate leads, and it was offline. It wasn't on Facebook, it wasn't on LinkedIn. She offers services B2C, so business to consumer. So I said, scrap the idea of Facebook. What you've got to do is continue to generate the income that you built off the tactic that we used that was offline. So she said, okay, she went away. And then she followed the strategy that we put in place, which was to do outreach. And the outreach was simply this: connect with people on LinkedIn to find a strategic partner who served her target audience. Just like I reached out to the guy from Israel who had 65,000 coaches, she did the same thing. So she's making connections with these people who serve her target audience. Anyway, one of those people replied to her. Yeah, so I think she targeted 40, one person replies. And off the back of that, they said, hey, great, they jump on a call. And now this company from Spain, so a different country as well, she's based in London in the UK, a different country, Spain, this company reached out and said, hey, let's talk. They spoke, they said, we like what you do, can you send us a proposal? But the cool thing about this is that company will now supply her with the equivalent of 10 to 20,000 pounds of regular business every month, just for making that connection and then following up, guys. And this is why I want to explain why your tactics have let you down. Most people are relying on Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Google ads just to dig them out of the hole. It doesn't work like that, guys. You've got to work the process, because when you generate the sales off the back of those leads that you've generated, you make the income and generate the income, you now have momentum. You're now not forced with the idea of chasing and focusing on cash. You're now looking at the prospect of scaling to that next level. So those are the stories I just wanted to share with you guys. So that is it for today. And I just wanted to kind of wrap up that. Focus on who you serve, B2B, B2C, understand the niche, understand your pricing. And then once you've done that, get into how can you use marketing channels, the varying ones, to market your assets and put your message into the market. So if you're a coach and you're currently struggling and you would like some help with that, just comment below this or send me a message, send me a direct message, and then I'll be in touch to help you move to the next level where you can generate leads consistently without overwhelm, without technology holding you back, or even if you've been let down in the past by a coach or a marketing agency where you've put stuff out there and it just hasn't worked. Yeah, it's all to do with your strategy and your message, guys. So thank you for watching. It's Leon Street from businessownerelevation.com. It's Whiteboard Wednesday and we went a bit over time today. It was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop me a comment, give me a thumbs up, give me a yes, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode next week, guys. Take care. Bye.